Hey, how you guys doing? Sorry I'm a little late on some of my videos lately. Just this weekend for 3 days, my son had his wedding, and I was doing the videography for that as well. Maybe we'll do a breakdown video on that, maybe. Um, and for this week's topic, I'm going to cover dual GPU and gaming. And it actually, at one time, used to be pretty prevalent for some serious gamers. And during that time, it did kind of make sense where a lot of the software development perhaps was a little bit ahead of maybe some of the hardware during the time, especially in gaming. There's been huge advances in gaming. And so a lot of the serious gamers would get two GPUs and then put them in either SLI or Crossfire for both AMD and NVIDIA graphic cards, making it look like a virtual larger hard drive to share some of the load, get better frame rates and so on. And during that time, it kind of made sense. Sorry, I got it. I'm doing so much. I'm drinking my coffee here. But nowadays, it's kind much more less relevant for many reasons, and we're going to kind of go on the wind down of using dual GPUs. Now, there's still many applications and companies still using multiple GPUs in their systems, primarily for things like video editing, content creation, visual effects, things like that. Multiple GPUs makes a lot more sense, and it continues to be supported in that as far as that goes on. But I think now, as far as gaming, and we're seeing a downtrend of using multiple GPUs over choice of using a very fastest available GPU card. Now seems to be more prevalent, and I know I know AMD has been talking, especially their CEO, as Crossfire technology is not a focus anymore, and they may end up taking that out as well. Now, NVIDIA, they went from SLI to something called NVLink. While it's still supported, we're still seeing a downward trend in being long-term supported very well. And so we're going to look at this from multiple sides. From the hardware side, using multiple GPUs, of course, you're going to see increase of price because you're going to have to buy, obviously, two graphic cards. Of course, the power requirements are going to be more, so you may end up buying a beefier power supply, and that's also going to raise the heat and noise levels as well. And sometimes I've been seeing, I'm not a serious gamer that uses multiple GPUs. I tend to use just whatever I have in my computer at the time. Of course, I have been getting reports in multiple GPUs that it's cross-fired or SLI'd together, being kind of tricky to use and not always working correctly. So stability, reliability issues could be popping up. Of course, Amdahl's law is still in effect, which I've talked about in length as far as CPUs go. Amdahl's law saying there's a diminishing rate of returns for each hardware item you add together, such as CPUs and now in GPUs. So you're not going to see 200% raise in performance for adding a second GPU. In fact, you'll only get at the very most 50%. And the more you add, the less performance you're going to get for the price. And in fact, right now, for a lot of people, you're going to see better price performance in just buying a high-end GPU over just buying two mid-price cards and adding them together. And then that comes down to developer support. We're seeing less developer support for multiple GPUs. And then now once that happens, we're kind of seeing a downward cycle, because if gamers are not using multiple GPUs in the system, then obviously developers may not see a need to add that support for their game. And then as you can see, it kind of slowly goes downhill from there. And then the reliability and affordability of using one card is going to be probably your best option right now. So, yeah, I think right now, I think using the highest end GPU you can afford is the best option right now. And for me, stability and reliability are always going to be more important. Obviously, I don't want to see any freezing during the game because my multiple GPUs has some problems. Well, thanks for watching this edition of my video. Until then, see you guys later, and hopefully you have a great rest of your week.